What is going on, everybody? Eddy here once again for another Life of Dad lunch break. With me, the roaming reporter, my co-host, Jon Finkel. What's up, dude?
Hey, man, I just like to give everybody a unique background. I mean, I've never been able, in all the times we've done the show, to match your background with you have so much cool stuff going on. It's like you have the best podcast studio, and I've never had it. So I've decided to take myself at lunch break, on my lunch break, out of the office and roam around a little bit. I got a nice little area around where I work, and I thought I'd show the people what it's all about over here in Dallas.
Oh, I love it. Again, I feel like I'm such the dad with a dad joke being like, oh, we got a roaming report. I'm going to be doing that this whole time. Just let everybody know.
That's good.
And speaking of everybody, let us know where you're watching from. Way on the topic. We're talking about top 5 family games you guys like to play with your family on family game night. It could be board games, outdoor games, video games, whatever the case may be, even Hunger Games. We don't care. We just want to know what you like to play and why, and maybe you'll hook us up to some new games. Maybe in the morning, Dundee would like to play some new games. Or no, hold on. I butchered that line. Maybe in the morning we show Dundee some new games. Which one was that from? Because obviously 1 or 2.
I have no idea.
Crocodile Dundee 2.
2, yeah. You know what? I was actually thinking, since I don't know it, it's probably 2, because 1 I remember pretty well.
All right. So how about you start off, man? What is something like you guys like to do? Because I know you guys, crush it on Friday with, Friday night is Sunday night. So what do you guys do on the weekends or just during, family game
For whatever
night?
reason, when the number one board game in our house right now for talking games is Guess Who. It's like, it's taken over. I don't even know why. I got it when I was for my son's birthday. I'm sorry, for my son's birthday in February. And I was looking for, some throw-in stuff. He wanted a couple big presents, and I was walking out of like Target or whatever. I was like, oh, Guess Who for $10? Like, that was a fun game, And I bought it, and they've become like obsessed with it. Like, it's somehow in my house, the Guess Who people are stars on par with like the Marvel figures. They're like, oh, you always pick Tom. Like, oh, Sally, she's hilarious. So like, I wonder what his body looks like. And they've all taken on like a life of their own for the kids. So when we play, like, we have to be real careful because they start asking like the smallest, does your person have a smaller left eyebrow? You know what I mean? Like, they're so into these characters. It's not just the normal, are they wearing a hat? Are they not wearing a hat? So Guess Who has become the go-to game. And I kind of hope it's over soon, because the funny thing about Guess Who in modern times is, A, there's only like 30 people, so it's really small. And B, like, you realize after playing it a couple nights in a row, if you ask the right maybe 4 questions, you're always going to narrow it down. Like, and you basically hacked it. And like my son has and my daughter has, so everybody's just like, are they wearing a hat? Is it a boy? Do they have brown eyes? And all of a sudden you have like 3 people every single time, and they just start with the letter A or whatever. So anyway, that's the number one game. It's not even an all-time game. I hope once we're done with it, we're probably done with it for good. But at the moment, it's like every night after dinner when I put the Celtics game on or whatever I put on in the background, it's like, hey, Dad, we have to have our Guess Who tournament.
Nice, love it. I remember playing that game. We haven't played that in our with my family, with my kids and my wife yet. But growing up, man, that thing was huge, and always like. Yeah, it was a point we could seriously narrow it down to like 4 questions and you were done. So
the 3 questions are: is it a man? Do they have brown eyes, which is most of them do? And the third one, which is hit or miss, is like, are they wearing a hat or not? And if you do that, you end up with about 5 or 6 people. And then there's certain things, that you could figure it out. But I think what they need to do, if anybody's watching who knows the good people at the Guess Who factory, I'd love like 100-person Guess Who, like a really thorough, like CSI level Guess Who with like all kinds of smaller things to notice. Like, that would be cool.
Do they have freckles just on the right side of their face?
Yeah. And all the people are like, they're all like yellow, kind of like The Simpsons. So they're all kind of multicultural. So you can't really divide it up that way. So they should just make all the people's like skin color, because that's an automatic way to like divide up the questions. Like The Simpsons, like everybody's yellow or purple or whatever, and then all the features are things that can be totally different, because that's easier.
Or how about this? Combine 3 things. You combine Guess Who, Battleship, and Where's Waldo, right?
Nice.
So you have to, patent pending, John and I are starting a game. You have to find Waldo, but like you have the game set up like Battleship, where you have like, the fighters, you can't see what's going on, but you have people all around different quadrants, and you have to find Waldo.
Yeah, and the people, when you guess where they are, it's like, is Herman at the mall? And it's like, oh, yo, Herman's not at the mall. You lost him. He ran away. Like, yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Nice. Andy says we're old school. Uno and Jenga always work. Yeah, Jenga is fun.
Jenga's forever.
Yeah, because you always like my youngest when we play that game. It's always kind of like she finds the ones that are like the easiest, and then like it creates more drama for the rest of us. We're like, all right, what do we do now, right?
I know.
And Uno, we just started. We had like a Frozen Uno, and like my kids at the time were kind of like passive, but now with Frozen 2, it's kind of like in vogue right now. So we've been playing that like just as my wife's aunt and uncle came by, we were playing that, and it was fun times playing that game. So Uno is good, man.
Jenga's timeless and ageless. Like the funny thing about Jenga is, and I've learned this having my kids have gotten older, and you've probably seen this. Like if the kids are playing it and you're not playing it, you're automatically like, well, I want to play. And then if you have any friends over, any adult who comes over and sees Jenga, they're almost drawn to it, and every time without fail, if it's a family relative visiting or a friend stops by, and Jenga is out, it's like, you want to just throw down some Jenga? It's like, yeah, well, why not? It's the easiest mindless thing to do. And then you're just kind of cruising and talking, and then as it gets like maybe, I don't know, 5 levels up or whatever, and you're truly like thinking about it, everybody's silent.
Yes. Have you taken your kids to like a restaurant where they have like the big Jenga?
Yeah, that's fun.
Are they like, what? Like the first time they're like, wait, what is this?
I'm like, no. And then I said to them, listen, that Jenga is not big. You just got really small. And they're like, what?
Anthony says Uno gets intense in our house, super personal. Kind of like whatchamacallit, Monopoly. If you play Monopoly sometimes, depending on the family members, that can get some serious anger.
Yeah, my kids they're a little too young for Monopoly. My family growing up, we were big into Monopoly, but the problem in the Finkel household was, my mom just wouldn't try. So she would just like basically throw the game, which once we got old enough, used to drive us nuts, because like if everybody isn't trying, all it takes is the first person who would get to ask my mom like for Boardwalk or Park Place or to put a hotel there. She would always just accommodate everything, and we're like, just so basically we were like, you can't play anymore. Like if you're not going to be, a capitalist,
you kicked your mom off of Monopoly.
If you're not going to be a capitalist and try to be ruthless and own your territory and build up your hotels and keep up your property. Because if you think about it in real life, it'd be terrible. If you were a magnate and I was a magnate, and we knew that a person we worked with, whoever got to them first is going to sell us their building. There's no fun in it, because you're not even like trying. You're like, all right, well, mom's after me, so whatever she gets, I'm just going to steal all her properties.
It went from playing Monopoly the normal way to like supermarket sweep. You're like, all right, who gets to the mom first?
Yeah, that was all it was. What's the order? Oh, I get after mom. Good. Whatever she gets, I'm going to get.
Here we go. Got some other ones. Craig Ryan saying Mousetrap. Mousetrap is a game where I think setting it up, I think we talked about this in itself.
Yeah, we had a long Mousetrap discussion.
Setting this up is a game upon itself. And then when you play, it's like 30 minutes of prep for like 5 minutes of like
Mousetrap is, in my opinion, the most exciting commercial, the coolest thing to anticipate, but literally the worst payoff for any game I've ever played in my life. Like the setup takes, especially after like maybe a week when none of the pieces fit together anymore really, and like they don't go where they're supposed to go, and it's just, I don't know. I have to plead like dad, the dad idea of like the whole idea. If you're a kid and you don't actually have to set it all up and you just get to play, like it's great. But from a parent perspective, it's a nightmare, because you're just trying to basically trying to recreate the first time it was cool for the 100th time, and it just never happens.
What's up, Gene? Thanks for checking out the show. Kendra is saying Spades.
Spades is a little bit older, but yeah, Spades it's a good college dorm drinking game.
Or Kings. John Couch says Kerplunk or Tippet. Have you played these?
Kerplunk I have played. Tippet is good too. All those ones, like the one that's very much like Kerplunk that we got was there's a Yeti in my spaghetti, which is like just a disastrous game. Like it's just all these fake pieces of spaghetti, and you put a Yeti on top, and you have to pull the spaghetti out before the Yeti falls. And some of these games that are basically 39 cents in plastic with a funny name, they just piss me off.
Board game confessions with John.
Yeah,
What
because
game?
your kid's gonna see it and they're like, "Oh my god, Yeti and spaghetti," and it's $12 or $15, and you know how boring it's gonna be once it gets home, and you know how cheap it was to make, and you know the plastic box, and you know what it's all gonna be, and they played it maybe 3 times and haven't touched it since.
All right, ready?
Yeah,
Pandas in pasta.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
Hold on.
Raccoons and ravioli.
Yes. I'm trying to think of like what's frogs and fettuccine.
Frogs and fettuccine is really, really good. I like it. How about this one? Alpacas and Alfredo.
Oh, sweet.
That's it. That somebody was in a boardroom somewhere and they were just like, we can make really cheap spaghetti out of plastic. What? And let's put some animal. What it rhymes with spaghetti? Like, how about a Yeti? Yeah, great. Let's make 99% profit on this thing.
Up to your elbows and elephants, and it's just elbow pasta.
Yeah. Yeah. Monkeys and macaroni, and it's just, oh, look at that! I pulled the macaroni out. The monkey fell to the bottom.
This game is not brought to you by Parker Brothers. It's brought to you by Dad Jokes Anonymous. Chris Baker says catchphrase: If you have four people over 10, it's a great game. My kids love playing Rummy Cub, Spot It, and Castle Crashers, the video game. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, we love playing Mario Kart. It's like, we have it for the Switch and the Wii U, and it's like, you play that, dude, like, all of a sudden, it takes me back to, like, my college days playing a Nintendo 64, and that it's just all kids can play, parents can play. My wife, not really into video games, but when that game comes on, dude, like, we're all sitting down and playing. We play more board games. Like, one of the things my wife's sister got us, or one of my daughters for Christmas, was Tenzi. You ever hear of Tenzi?
No.
It's a dice game. You have 4 sets of dice. In each set, there's 10 dice, and you have to roll the dice. And if we say 6, so everybody rolls their set of 10 dice, and whoever gets 6 rolls 6 all the time, like all of it. Then you win. It gets super competitive, and it always you always find one of us is either dominating or one of us never wins, and they'll be like, I haven't won yet.
That's awesome. You know what? It reminded me, I tried. My kids are a little too young. I tried Pictionary, and it didn't work because for little kids, they just don't grasp what you're doing. So you're drawing something, and your kids just saying my son just saying random. Yeah.
After this, no.
Just saying the most random things, and it's like, what is it? And you're like, you're drawing. You're like, dude, I just drew the Captain America shield. All you had to do was say Captain America, and we would have won. And he's like, but I was thinking of Superman when you drew that. And it's like, no, this is not how this whole thing works.
What are those those bomb pops? You remember the firecracker pops? Bomb pop. No.
Yeah. Everything. I'm like, this is the. Anyway, you know what else?
You draw the Captain America with little wings, the Flash. You're like, no, there's a shield.
I thought the shield would be all. What else do you need? The shield. The shield is it. Anyway, he didn't get it. But you know what game I don't like, and I'm glad my kids are kind of past it, is Memory. You know, where you have the squares. I don't know what it is. I know that it's good for cognitive things for kids, but for me personally, it's the single most boring game on earth. And my daughter used to love it, and she'd be like, "Oh, I got the harmonica, and there's the harmonica," and you turn it over, and then they turn it over, and you turn it over, and they turn it over, and at the end of the day, it's like, who cares? Who cares how many things you got?
Yeah. So, yeah, but to the kids, it's the biggest thing. If they lose,
oh my god, if they remember, if they remember, if you pull whatever the one we have, a zebra, and put it down, and then you pick a horse, and it's not the right one, but they know where that zebra is. They're like, oh, they can't, they explode. Oh, look at that, you suck.
So we had the Disney version of Memory, and it had all the different characters. And my youngest, she loves Marie from the Aristocats.
Yeah.
And her, when I play with her, all she would do was try and find Marie. And even though we would watch, and there'd be Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh's here. I'd flip it over and oh, must have missed that one, and I put it back. She's just going for Marie, and I'm like, she's not at this point. I'm not even. There's no sense of me even playing, right? And then for the odd chance I do get Marie, the game's over now.
Yeah.
And I was like, Okay.
That reminds me, and it's probably a separate topic, but like when your kids just suck at a game, like a simple board game, and like not that there's strategy and like they're not smart enough to do it, but for whatever reason it just isn't clicking. Like the strategy of the game isn't clicking, and it happens. These games are all for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 year olds, so they're not supposed to be good or at your level. But for whatever reason, like the game, sorry, like it's like 2 steps forward or 4, 7 back. Like for whatever reason, my daughter didn't grasp that. Like when you got sorry, like you had to go back,
Yeah.
and you didn't want to move certain
I
ones. You
want
wanted
to go back.
yeah, you wanted to move them past you wanted to get them into the home. You didn't want to keep them, the move was always like, do you want one person to, one peg to go all the way around the home, or do you want like 4 out on the table? And it was like, you don't want 4 out, because if anybody pulls a sorry card, you're always going to keep going. There's always, and she just never got it. And like every game, at some point, she'd be in tears because I'd be like, you 3 steps back puts you behind the home thing, so you can go right in there. And she never got that. And now she's old. Now she completely gets it. But for that period where she didn't, and she'd want to play, and we used to make a big deal of like sorry, and then have fun with it. And, like you're moving pieces back. But dude, when you could split between 2, and I'd be like, no, split between 2 because this one can go here. Just none of it fit, and she wasn't getting any of it. And like I said, now she's 8, or almost 8. She gets completely, but at like the 6-year-old mark, the whole thing just flummoxed her. She couldn't figure it out. She's driving me crazy.
Sean Paul says, trouble is the same for me. After 10 minutes, I want the game to be over.
Yes.
A lot of other people have been saying like water gun tag. Some people make war with cards. Craig and Jean Paul have been like all over this. This is great. We've got Catan or Ticket to Ride. My kid usually has to play either of these 3 or more days of the week. That's awesome. And that's another thing too. Like you're sitting down with your kids and you're like having fun, but you're also having a chance to sit down and like have fun and like have conversations with them, which I love. Yeah. We got Jared, and this is kind of like the whole theme of the show. I'm glad Jared brought this up. I don't like restrictions on family game night. We do a family play night. Maybe we wrestle, maybe we go somewhere, maybe we play a game, more options. Yeah, I mean that's when I said games, and when we said games, it was like video games, games outdoors, whether you're playing like my family and I have been playing badminton. We've been like we got to get our net up in the backyard and all that, but we just been playing badminton. So we love that. So I mean, yeah, just family game night can be whatever you want, but sometimes people equate it to, of course, board games or video games. But like for us, it's Tenzi, Uno, Scrabble. Someone mentioned Scrabble. Scrabble's a great way to get your kids to think, about different letters and different words. And like, I helped my youngest spell fart because she got like a triple word score on that. So we all it's funny.
That's a hero moment right there. Yeah, we don't actually have an official game night. I just feel like most nights we end up playing games of some sort. Like, and again, it's not. There's nights where we do it. There's a lot of nights, I'll throw on a game in the background while I'm just in the playroom or something, and they're playing games. It's very I'd say it's very casual. Some nights we don't play stuff, but if a few nights have gone by and I notice it, I'll definitely make sure we go out and play, something. But like now that the weather's nicer, I would personally rather, I know the kids, like I'd rather go for a bike ride than, play a board game, just because, especially after school, I get home from work and everything. It's like, let's go outside. Kids are getting into like basketball stuff. So that's, it's kind of like summer, winter things.
Daniel Ortiz with the savage move. Love holding a bunch of draw 4s on Uno. That's awesome.
Funny. Yeah. Good for you.
Too. Hangman is a great game when you're at a restaurant, like, waiting for your food to come. That's a great game. Another thing that's great while you're waiting for things, like in a waiting room or, waiting to catch a plane, is picking up The Life of Dad.
Yeah, good segue.
This book right here is
blowing up right now.
A bunch of great dads sharing their advice on fatherhood, from, sharing to caring to being there to patience. John and I wrote this book together. It comes out May 7th, the day after my birthday. So if you want to get me a great birthday present, pre-order the book for someone in your life who you think would enjoy this wise wisdom of fatherhood and quotes and all these good things, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, we got, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say who's in it, for people who may be watching the show for the first time and haven't heard us talk about it. It's literally like a who's who of amazing dads we've interviewed over the years on this show, on the podcast, on the website, on the blog. We've had this, the book had Mark Cuban officially endorsed it. Mean Joe Green officially endorsed it. Tim Allen. Who else we got? Dale Earnhardt Jr. We've got Nate Robinson. We've got James Blake, tennis star. We've got Chef Robert Irvine. Mark Hamill is in it. We got Ice Cube in there. Shaq is in there. So if you were at all into any of these guys, you want to hear their thoughts on fatherhood, stories, tips, tactics, and things like that, I can't impress upon you enough how awesome you will think this book is. But we'd love for you to buy it. If you do, tag me at John_Finkel on Twitter or Art at ArtEddy3, and you'll hook you up with these cool big VIP bookmarks that we have. They're kind of VIP dad bookmarks, and we've been giving away left and right. I think I gave away like 4 yesterday from people who bought it. I know you've been doing the same.
And if you want to be a guest on either this or our podcast, just show us. And that's one way. If you pre-order it and show us, hey man, you can get on, like our boy Sean Kingbird, who always checks out the show. Yes. For John and I, again, we always appreciate the support, whether it's the book or just hanging out on here, having fun, right? We'll see you guys next week. You guys enjoy the rest of the time with your family. And again, always thanks for love the comments and love the interaction with you guys. So for John and I, the man on the street and me at home, we'll see y'all later. Peace.